Tonight on Top 20, a torrent of thrills, waves of destruction. We're counting down the best wild and wet wipeouts. Which will reign supreme? The world's worst belly flop? The pony show put on ice? What about a soaking wet surfer fight? Or the mother of all roadblocks? From thousands of videos all over the world, these are the most jaw-dropping moments of Aqua madness. Which will be number one? Find out next on Top 20 Wild and Wet Wipeouts. Now let's put the pedal down on number 20. High speed, shallow water, and breakneck turns. No one's better at sprint boat racing than the team of Dennis Hughes and Gabe Parkins.
Well, one of the fastest boats on the course today.
Dennis had got control of the boat. All the corners were perfect. The boat was running fantastic. Probably the best that it's ridden in since I've been in it anyways.
But as they hit the final loop, the race takes a deadly twist.
We came around one of the very last corners and caught the boat on my side. When you see the boat go in the wrong direction, not forward but sideways, I was thinking, oh crap.
Both racers are buried upside down in the mud as anxious seconds tick by.
That obviously the worst case scenario for a sprint boat racer.
Crewmen rush in just as Gabe bobs to the surface. But there's still no sign of Dennis.
That to me was almost more scary than actually the wreck itself.
With time running out, they flip the vessel over and find the driver still wedged inside.
Can we get a hand up if the other racer is okay?
Finally, everyone breathes a sigh of relief.
We have a hand up. Give him a round of applause.
But nobody's more thankful than Dennis.
Being strapped inside the boat upside down in the water was horrible. If that safety crew hadn't got there, I would be dead.
The men survived to race another day. And after this crash, that's the most they could ever ask for. If you're not careful, a daring high dive can turn into a real flop.
Are you alive, Colby?
Colby!
The kid smacks the water back first. And now he's got a wicked memento of his jump.
Hey, Colby, are you okay?
Think about what you're doing.
It gets even worse for these jackasses who decide to leap off the roof of their 5-story apartment into a pool. The first jumper nails it, but his buddy comes up brutally short. His foot slips on takeoff, and he breaks both legs on the concrete edge. He'll survive. But the diver at 19 might not be so lucky. Meet Captain Video, a public access TV host known for his outrageous style and wild antics. Today, he sets up a camera in his parents' backyard to tape a segment on removing a pool cover.
Yeah, you gotta get the cover off if you're gonna swim in it, but you want to have fun doing it.
Shooting on his own, the show-off climbs the 18-foot ladder, planning to jump into the tarp. But Captain Video is about to become Captain Crunch.
All right, here we go. Cover up the pool tank.
The ladder gives way when he kicks off. He nosedives into the cement, then tumbles onto the tarp. The captain lies unconscious in the sinking cover, with no one on hand to save him. Luckily, a neighbor was watching through her window and comes to check on the fallen star. With only seconds to spare, she saves him from drowning and calls 911. Suffering a broken neck, he faces a long road to recovery. But if Captain Video was hoping to make a splash in the ratings, he should take a cue from number 18. Biker Lowry Mannanen has a neat trick. Turning motocross into a water sport. The rider wows friends by actually skimming across the surface. The key is keeping up speed and staying on course. Unfortunately, on his next run, Lowry does neither. The biker pops a wheelie at the pond's edge, plunging the front tire beneath the surface and losing his ride. But that's not all he's missing. The soggy daredevil has lost his pants, and now he's going commando. Oddly, Lowry is more concerned with pulling out his bike than pulling up his drawers. This speedster might let it all hang out. But a diver's gotta keep it together at number 17. In the Atlantic Ocean, deep-sea cameraman Jim Cosmic and his crew are on special assignment. And sprays of water are telltale signs they've found their subjects. It's a pair of humpback whales. The excited crew quickly dives in to film the magnificent duo.
I was feeling pretty comfortable getting closer and closer to the whale. They didn't seem to mind.
Adding to the challenge, Jim and his fellow videographer can't use scuba gear or they'll frighten the skittish creatures. But when you're next to a 45-ton animal, there is such a thing as too close. A flick of the massive tail, and Jim gets clocked.
Only thing I saw was a big gray thing coming right at the camera, and that's when I got hit. It's like getting hit by a car. I knew I had to get to the surface. If I didn't get there, I was finished.
Dazed, Jim struggles to reach the boat. He clambers aboard, completely winded.
You all right, Jim? Yeah, get my breath.
He knows he's just lucky to be alive.
The tail.
If he'd hit me lower, he probably would have broken my neck, killed me right there.
And thanks to his camera work, no one can doubt Jim's incredible tail. Don't go away. You won't believe what's next. Teenage mischief slides into bone-grinding danger. A drama queen pours on the pain. And one bad turn puts a coop in the soup. Which will be number one? Stick around for Top 20 Wild and Wet Wipeouts. The countdown rockets ahead. From speedboat racers who go belly up to a diver's painful smackdown. Top 20 has seen a daredevil bottom out and face the tail end of terror. But you won't believe the wild and wet action at number 16. This isn't a water park. It's a storm runoff canal. But a band of reckless teens have snuck inside and made it a personal playground. They plunge down the mossy cement at 50 miles an hour. Some don't land just right and feel the pain. And that's giving Michael Myers second thoughts.
I was a little scared when I saw him doing it. It's pretty long, pretty steep, and there's moss going past you the whole time. I mean, it's kind of gnarly.
If he thinks the ride down is gnarly, wait till he sticks the landing.
Who's that?
Oh, God.
Mike's in serious trouble.
I came up, and my back was just in all kinds of pain.
I hurt my back.
Just before splashdown, Mike bends his knees, taking the full force of the impact on his tailbone.
At 50 miles an hour, if you don't hit that water, with your feet, you're kind of in trouble. Kind of like hitting a brick wall.
You okay, man?
I had to straighten out. Why, dude? I was like, oh, your back really hurts right now. Where's it hurt?
It's worse than he realizes. His back is broken. Thankfully, Mike's friends get him to a hospital fast. These teens learn cheap thrills can come at a hefty price. But they still don't top the stupidity at number 15. What's a bull doing in a wild and wet wipeout show? More importantly, what's a swimming pool doing in a bull ring? At this rowdy event, whoever stands in the water longest wins. But one brave soul is punished for lingering too long. Knocked cold, he's left dangling in front of the enraged beast. And things only get worse. The bull's horns get caught in the plastic, which makes him even madder. Badly gored and floating unconscious, the amateur matador is in serious danger of drowning. Fortunately, others pull the man to safety. But even a soaking wet bull rush can't match the cat fight at number 14. The meanest chick in school is showing two girls who's boss. But when she gets a taste of her own medicine, the bully doesn't cool down. She boils over. The dip in the water douses her cell phone. So the bruiser calls up some rage and goes ring-a-ding-ding on the upstart's face. Her girl gang joins in. They chuck the victim Sally in with her and kick her drink in the drink. But the diva isn't done dishing. She jumps back in and makes her favorite punching bag talk to the hand. Over and over again. It's a wake-up call for the ambitious underdogs. When they push the queen bee too far, they got stung. Rugged vehicles can handle almost any terrain. As long as it's not covered with water. A dune buggy flips over in a shallow pond, nearly drowning its drivers in a foot of mud. But for motorists who really turn a crash into a splash, check out unlucky number 13. It's a tough day for competitors at this rally race in Estonia. They're seriously taking a beating. That's especially true at this hairpin turn. One actually rolls into a nearby lake. Another takes things even farther. The racer rockets through the turn, soars across a field, and it's a 2-ton cannonball. Onlookers rush to rescue the people stuck inside. They soon emerge and are spared going down with the ship. It may be time to install a guardrail at this curve. Or at the very least, a lifeguard. Hang on tight. The best is still to come. You'll see a sub-zero race against time. A family fight to stay afloat. And a storm drain go berserk. We're going deep into the countdown. On Top 20, Wild and Wet Wipeouts. On the countdown to number 1, we've seen a kid slammed on a slide. And a man skewered by the beef. A vicious girl bare her claws. And racers turn a drive into a dive. But wait until you see the trouble brewing at number 12. On the banks of the Mississippi, Noah Furchie and his friends are no strangers to wiping out on their wakeboards. But these river rats are looking to up the ante.
Well, me and my friends wanted to try something new, step it up a little bit, so we went out there and built a rail that we can slide across and try some new tricks out.
A buddy handles the beam without a problem.
Oh, yeah!
But when it's Noah's turn, he gets nailed.
I jumped up way too late, clipped the edge. I get whipped down, you know, and like it was almost happening in slow motion.
Noah's dazed by the bone-jarring fall.
I was just kind of off in my own little world. Then I looked at my arm and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. There's a big chunk taken out of it.
And that Mississippi mud probably isn't too good for an open wound.
Okay, this one hurts bad.
Maybe next time he'll stick to the water, where the landings are a little softer. Fear reaches new heights at number 11. A flash flood strikes the nation of Oman, and a major thoroughfare is washed out. Despite the obvious danger, a taxi and a family in an SUV are trying to get across. But both are swamped in the rising water. Mother Nature takes a horrifying toll. The SUV rolls on its side and gets swept away. Luckily, they stay afloat long enough to bottom out in shallows. But things are much worse for those in the taxi. The occupants take refuge on top of the car. It soon sinks, and they're left stranded, clinging desperately to the tops of trees. Those on land gather all the rope they can find and string a lifeline to the desperate swimmers. One by one, they're brought to shore. Unbelievably, no lives are lost at this flooded intersection. Thanks to citizens banding together to bridge the gap between life and death. Now slide into the snow at number 10. Wet and icy roads are tough on drivers, but they can be a real killer for pedestrians. The motorist tries to stop his skid by hitting the bank. A bystander struggling to get out of the way slips. The driver hits reverse to no avail. The man's head nearly falls under the tire as he's shoved clear. Whether you're on wheels or on foot, when the roads are slick, the wipeouts can be quick and deadly. If you've got a need for speed, then powerboat racing is your sport. Skim the surface at 100 miles an hour? No problem. That is, if you stay above the water. These boats are built to take air, but taking a dive is not the design. The sudden submarining knocks this ship out of the race. But for a really explosive outcome, brace yourself for the waterborne wipeout at number 9. Top hydro drag pilot Tim Morgan is ready to rock the liquid quarter mile. But within seconds of takeoff, his dreams of victory are shattered. Blasting down the straightaway at over 210, a rough patch can be deadly. Once Tim hits the chop, there's nothing to do but hang on. The racer's capsule is thrown clear. The rescue team hauls their man in moments later. He's shaken, but otherwise okay. It was a shocking combination of hot boat and cold current that left this pilot hanging on for his life. Coming up, more unrelenting excitement. But which will be number one? A flash of anger in the surf? Or a flash of terror on the ice? The answer may just blow your mind. On Top 20, Wild and Wet Wipeouts. They could be cruising for trouble or riding a wave of destruction. But once they're down on their luck, they better hold their breath. Now hang on for number 8. What's got this local surfer acting so gnarly? An outsider who's trying to chill in his favorite spot. The newcomer insists the ocean is for everyone, but not everyone shares his laid-back attitude. The hot-headed beach bum starts an offshore scuffle, and he shows no sign of letting up. The brutality continues right in front of some cameramen. But this day at the beach looks like fun to an oblivious pooch. It may be dangerous to surf on someone else's turf, but it's nothing compared to the lawless flight at number 7. It's a nasty night for a high-speed chase. But with a slimy suspect on the loose, Officer Robert Gaydosh won't let this pursuit get rained out.
This was an armed person. He just robbed a female at gunpoint, so he obviously wasn't a quality individual.
The punk plays chicken with oncoming cars.
We had a real problem on our hands because we have a vehicle that's driving head-on into traffic. On that road coming northbound was a lot of semis.
And just as cops fear, the outlaw veers straight at an 18-wheeler. Boxing him in is no longer an option.
There's no one around. It was just me and the suspect vehicle, so it was a good time to do a pit maneuver. The speed was right, the road conditions were right.
In fact, now the slick streets may work in the officer's favor. The perp slides across the asphalt, ricocheting off a guardrail and stalling out. And that's all she wrote.
When it was all said and done, after everything was done in court, we got a 20-year conviction.
Weather seemed to be on this thief's side until the cops rained on his parade. Now bad luck takes off at number 6. Stanley has one goal today: get his ultralight into the air and soar over the ocean. Only he can't even get off the beach. Time and time again, the sea breeze just won't cooperate. With his patience wearing thin, Stanley finally scores a lucky gust. It's a perfect liftoff. The flyboy banks back around for the camera, but this bird is about to take a bath. loses his headwind and nosedives into the shallow water. Fortunately, Stanley's not seriously hurt. But his flight of fancy just wasn't meant to be. Up next, it's down to the top 5. A boat with no driver rockets toward shore.
Watch it jump the rock!
Kids fall through a frozen river, and the rescue takes a chilling turn. Plus, summer fun comes crashing down. Who will survive to reach number 1? On Top 20, Wild and Wet Wipeouts. The countdown rolls on. And whether it's a surfer caught in a turf war or a soggy game of bumper cars, nobody's left high and dry. Now an epic splashdown at number 5. When Sarah Lewick and her family go looking for summer fun, they find it right here at the lake, riding the Wet and Wild Flyer. The big disc is great for towing the whole gang. But Sarah learns that if you're looking to catch some air, you gotta go solo.
You can use the Wet and Wild Flyer as a normal tube, but they do have special straps on the back that can be used if you want to fly.
Sarah's cousin is first up to try it alone, and he gets an unforgettable thrill ride.
He got a pretty good jump, so I went after him, and I was trying to see if I could go higher than he could.
It's Sarah's big chance. And it turns out she can go higher than her cousin. Much higher. Wow. Sarah soars like a kite. But suddenly nosedives, slamming head first into the lake.
It happened because I leaned back, so all the air just came under me. And since I was so much lighter than my cousin, I just went really high.
Oh my God!
Sarah might want to ease off the excitement.
Wow.
But fun in the sun gives way to torrential terror at number 4. A downburst pounds a small town in Colombia, raising river levels to dangerous heights. As the ferocious current picks up steam, it devours chunks of land. With conditions so harsh, some villagers flee, while others hope to wait out the storm. But they may not have homes to return to. Hours ago, this pink house had a huge front yard. Now, it's riverfront property. Residents watch in horror as the structure suddenly loses its foundation, then its floor, and finally, the entire living room. One by one, neighboring abodes also fall victim to Mother Nature. Everyone in town survives, but after this river ran wild, their homes are history. The danger is on autopilot at number 3. It's a quiet afternoon of fishing for Jeremy Glass and his buddies. But the biggest catch of the day is rocketing right at them. It's an out-of-control speedboat, and no one's at the wheel.
Don't get too close to it.
This boat was running along the outside of the reef, and apparently these people didn't notice that the wave was getting bigger and just swiftly tossed all 3 of them off.
Now the pilotless craft shoots across the waves at 40 miles an hour. Jeremy immediately radios the harbor patrol.
We got a runaway boat. It was just sheer panic. We thought it was going to hit the beach.
But there's no time for the Coast Guard to respond. The ship missiles straight across the bay toward a jetty. And there's nothing Jeremy's crew can do to stop it.
It was stunning to everybody. The rocks sort of acted like a ramp for the boat to jump over them.
Jeremy finds the vessel marooned on the other side. Its engine still racing. They're able to shut it off before the ghost boat takes off again. It's pure luck that no one in the busy harbor is hit by the runaway pleasure craft.
It's one of those freak accidents that, you know, good thing it played out the way it did. Nobody got hurt.
When ice is thick enough, it can be a winter playground. When it's not, it's a deadly trap. A line of marching horses suddenly breaks through the frozen surface. Panic grips the riders in their mounts. Incredibly, all 10 people and their horses are painstakingly rescued. But their ordeal has nothing on the chilling action at number 2. A police rescue team edges toward 5 kids who have fallen into an icy pond.
I could see how afraid they were. And we could hear them yelling, please, you know, we're gonna die, we're gonna drown.
The youngsters are moments away from hypothermia, so every second is critical. But then, the unthinkable happens.
They grabbed onto us, and their weight from grabbing onto us brought us in with them.
Now, even the officers are in grave peril. Struggling against the crippling cold, Detective Fisher and the other men heave the shivering kids into the raft. Meanwhile, a fire crew strings out tether lines from shore. But they too are on thin ice. Like a nightmare, the frozen sheet keeps crumbling away.
Pieces would break off and they'd grab another piece. And the pieces would break off and they'd grab another piece. They couldn't get up onto the ice.
Ultimately, persistence pays off. Other emergency workers pull all the rescuers and children to safety.
We all felt the same thing. You want these kids to go home to their parents at night. You don't want to be staying there for a couple of extra hours doing a body recovery.
It was a horrifying, near-fatal plunge that chilled everyone to the bone. Next, nature's fury meets a man-made snafu, and something's gotta give. It's down to number 1 on Top 20 Wild and Wet Wipeouts. From thousands of videos, we've counted down the splashiest, most outrageous, most dangerous, Wild and Wet Wipeouts. But for a fountain of trouble, check out the commuter who faces a gushing disaster at number 1 in our top 20 countdown. A summer downpour batters the streets of Minneapolis. Motorists cautiously contend with the rain-slick surface. But look closely. The real danger is bubbling up from below. A storm drain is blocked. Pressure builds against a 3-ton manhole cover. And it's about to blow. A 40-foot geyser explodes from the drain. Some have no choice but to blast right through. But a driver of a pickup is not so lucky. The man is stuck, pummeled by thousands of gallons of runoff. Finally, the flow subsides, revealing that he actually ran into the massive iron plate, which was launched into his path. He stands outside, waiting for help, unaware that the storm drain is still blocked and the pressure is building again. The soggy trucker runs for his life. At last, the gusher finally dies down. But this double dip of wet and wild earns Mother Nature the number 1 spot in our top 20 countdown. Whether they're high seas fiascos or 1,000-gallon washouts, when the going gets rough on the water, start paddling. Because trouble comes in waves with Wild and Wet Wipeouts. From poolside face plants to frigid ice baths, nothing's worse than a super soaking of smackdown. And you sailed past the pain on the slip and slide to number 1. On Top 20 Wild and Wet Wipeouts.